Hi there and welcome to our art video. My name is Anne Kinahan and I'm one half of DrinK in a Hand Art Productions. The other half is Pete, who should be behind the camera, but he's not. He's left me and he's somewhere in Scotland, I think, at the moment. He's promising that he's going to support me remotely, but obviously I'm a bit anxious about that, and that he's going to do all the editing and the production. So fingers crossed, I'm hoping. I'm not quite excited because today we're moving on from those flower videos the flower paintings that we were trying to paint, and the wine glass and the wine bottle, and we're going to move on to impressions of figures, so not detailed figure paintings, and then seeing if we can slot them into a landscape and seeing how that goes. The next few videos will be about figures and figures in different scenes and settings, so I feel like we're making some progress. Today's video will be in 3 parts. We're going to aim to produce something like this. So simple, in this case it's meant to be, in case it's not obvious, a seascape with 3 figures on the beach. So that's what we're aiming to produce, and that will be in 3 parts. The first part will be putting the landscape on and giving that time to dry. The second part will be practicing our figures like this. And then the third part will be popping our figures into the landscape to make our painting. If you haven't already subscribed to our videos, it might, and if you think you would be interested in seeing all 3 parts, it might be a good idea to subscribe, because that way that parts 1 and 2 and 3 will all appear on your phone or your laptop or whatever you're using. So let's get started then. We are using today, I'm just using an A4 canvas. I think unusually this one wasn't already painted on. I've just painted some orange colour on it. It doesn't have to be orange, it could be a different colour, but a bit of colour is just so you've got something there already, and so and just to help you get started, a bit of a kind of warm-up really. And then I've got a piece of paper as well. This my square of paper is 10 by 10 inches, and this will be to practice the figures on. And again, this was already used. I think it's been used several times, and so I painted white over it first of all to get rid of what I'd already done on it, and then painted some orange again just to give me a colour to get started with. In terms of brushes, I just got 3 today. For these figures, these abstract figures that we're doing, I find that these round brushes with a little point, I don't know what they're called, are very good. I've got one large one, and then I've got one small one as well, just again, and I'm hoping that they will both do what we want them to do. I can't see now to get the thing on. And in terms, then I've got my tub of water, again a big tub of water so that it lasts a bit longer, and I'm using the bottom of a milk bottle so it doesn't tip over too easily. I've got some kitchen towel in case I need that, and then I've got my palette. And once again, I've made my palette just on a tray with some kitchen towel, onto which I poured almost a whole kettle of water, so that when I use these, and if I don't use them all today, which is very unlikely, they'll stay nice and moist and usable for several days. Then in terms of colours, again, your colours can be whatever you like for this, but I've chosen the colours for this little landscape. So my sky is cerulean blue with some ultramarine blue in it. And then as I've got closer to the horizon, I've put a bit of purple in. I've made these hills out of, I think, some black and maybe some, I think this is burnt sienna, but any kind of brown would be all right, or even if you put a bit of red in the black, that would do all right, I think. And then my sea is a slightly different blue, but I think it's still ultramarine blue with some cerulean blue in. And the sand here, I've got a bit of white, a bit of titanium white to show the waves that you get at the edge of the sea sometimes. And then the sand here is, I think, raw sienna and burnt sienna. But again, any kind of sandy colour would be all right. I wanted the figures to have some colours in them. I've actually drawn them in, initially started them off in black. You don't have to do that. And then added some colour to show either their trousers or their tops. So this one has got a red top, so I've got some red, and this one's got a green top, and this one's got some red trousers. I don't know if people actually wear red trousers, but anyway, those are the colours that I've got. So we're going to start with doing the landscape so that we can then leave it to dry and then and have a play around with the figures. And it's a very simple landscape. And having the orange on the canvas gives us some help with that, because the orange will show through, and will show through the sandy colour as well to give the sand some depth. So let's get started. I'm going to just paint in some sky first of all, and I'm going to start mostly with some cerulean blue, just nice and wet. And again, I think it's quite good if some of the orange shows through, because it makes the sky a little bit more interesting, as we're not doing this in too much detail here. I might put a bit of, as we go closer to the bottom, a bit of this ultramarine blue in here, mix it up a little bit as we get a bit closer to the horizon. And then I'm going to try and put in some of this land. This is nothing like that lovely person on the TV who does the joy of painting, and I'm sorry it's not like that. But again, the idea is just to show you a simple way of and me, see if we can together achieve a simple way of making something look like it is someone on the beach. So I'm mixing some black now with this burnt sienna, as I said, with this brown, to map in a little bit of these mountains, or whatever they are, hills on the other side of the sea here. You notice I don't have lots and lots of different brushes, and I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if you have some of the other colour still on the brush. And I'm going to put in a little bit of purple, or mix a bit of purple with some of the ultramarine blue, and just put in some hills in the distance here. You might not even be able to see them very well, but just to give, I think the colour goes quite well with the orange. Now we're going to actually make the sea itself. So I think this sea has got a lot more of the ultramarine blue in it. Maybe I'll put some of the white in with it as well. I haven't actually seen, I know you've heard me talk a lot about Bob Burridge, and I haven't actually seen Bob do this sort of landscape, but I know that he would probably be smudging it all together with his fingers, so I probably will have a go at some of that in a minute. I'm getting to where I think the shoreline is, and I want to make a little bit at the front where, you know how when C goes over the sand, but you can see the sand through it. So it looks, I wonder how you do that. Maybe it's more of this, the raw sienna. Oh yeah, there you go. That kind of thing. And we're pretending that the sea moves a bit away on this part of the shore here. Yeah, that's quite good, isn't it? Yeah. That's a very cheerful sea scene. And maybe a little hints of blue along here. And then, because I swim in the sea quite a lot, as I know only too well, the hard part of swimming in the sea is actually getting into the sea and getting through the white waves at the beginning, at the front. So we need to put in some of those white bits just there. And so for this, I'm just using the end of my brush. And the white I'm using is titanium white because that's the strong white. Right, now we've got to put in the sand itself. So for that I'm going to, and again the orange will be important in this because it will shine through these colours to make it look like a nice warm sand. So I'm mixing some of the burnt sienna with some of the raw sienna, not mixing it up too well. So you've got both colours there. I think it can be blotchy this bit because it's foreground, isn't it? And it's there. So I'm hoping that that at least looks like a good enough seascape for us to put our figures onto. You might want to add in some little touches in a bit, but I'm going to stop there and make myself a cup of tea, and then I'm hoping I'll see you in part 2 of this video when we're going to practice doing the figures. Okay, thank you very much.